there's really two ways to live. That's to be ego-driven, driven by the economy, making money.
Having TikTok.
Living in this TikTok 3D reality versus being
spiritually guided
and living more in the natural flow of life.
And how you're supposed to be.
Where you're really connected with your true self, your purpose, connected with source and all living things. And that's really the two ways that human beings, the two options that we have to live. And, the first option, if you're going to choose to live as ego-driven, in the ego-driven 3D reality, you will conform to all the false narratives and ideologies that these so-called authority figures, the governments, the ultra-rich, and all of the plans that they have for you. You will abide by that. You will conform and eventually end up being led down a path and into AI. It's coming. It's coming. It's already there. They already have the technology to connect AI to the human brain. They already have the technology available to be able to control your every move when they do that. And that is the plan. And when AI takes over, that's going to basically be the end of your existence as a human being. Your free will to be free, to be independent, to be liberated, to be happy, will be taken away from you if you continue to buy into this TikTok life. It's already being taken away, and the only way out is to say, no, enough is enough. I'm fucking sick of this, and choose to be more spiritually guided. Choose to go beyond belief into the realm of having this unshakable trust and faith in your spiritual journey.
When we talk about spiritual, we're not referring to, things like religious dogma or an occultic thing like that. It's really being connected with your truest inner you. And the best way to describe it is, when you just get that quote unquote gut feeling of not to do something or to do something. Imagine that being there all the time. That's that kind of shit.
Well, it's like gut feeling, like you're following those moments that the actual experience, that moment in time, the actual experience just happened to flow like completely effortless.
Yeah.
You knew exactly what to say, how to say it,
when to say it,
and everything just kind of, it just happened. And then you looked back on it and you're like, I don't even know what the fuck I said. I don't know what I was thinking about.
I don't know how it happened.
I don't know how it happened. That's a reality that you can actually, that I'm very familiar with, that we are very familiar with now, and is available to you and every, you if you're listening, and every other person on this planet, if you choose to live free. But if you choose to continue to live in this TikTok world, continue to listen to Dr. Fauci, Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, and all these other,
and also people in the right too. No,
and even all the conservatives, even though their ideologies may be more in alignment with some of your ideologies, they are still rolling out this agenda to attach everyone to the AI and basically turn everyone into machines. So you're another number.
That's the
mark of the beast.
For those that read the Bible, that's the thing about being that statistic, or being stuck in TikTok, or being stuck in living that condition reality and that condition perspective. Is that when you're living that way, you don't question anything. They just keep giving you more rules to follow, and your full reality is based on past experiences or past physical references.
Full reality meaning everything that you say, everything that you do, your behaviors, all of your actions, and how you react is all preconditioned based upon past memory.
Yes, based upon what has been said, and this is how you should do it.
Based upon what you have been taught is right and wrong.
Right and wrong. Good
or bad.
Your identity, to the point that you think your identity is based on whatever experiences that you have had physically. And your identity is based on whatever you think those experiences mean to you and what you have accomplished in your situation, when in reality are much more than that. So when you're now in the space of actually being good.
I'm sorry. That's why so many guys end up at a point in their life where they're mid-30s, mid-40s, 50s, even 60s, saying, just sitting down on the couch, putting their head down, just frustrated beyond anything, just saying, why? I'm just feeling so lost and confused.
Same here. Happens to me.
In their life where they just, I've done everything right.
By the book.
I did everything by the book.
Yeah.
I did what I was told. I followed. I studied hard. I did great. I applied myself 100%. I did everything I was told to do. I got a good job. I've got a lot of money. But now,
then what?
What the fuck?
It's a combination. It's a perfect storm of emotions. Lost, fear, anxiety, anger, frustration, all of that all put together, and that's what hits. This is coming from experience too.
And if you're listening to this, I can honestly say, with all due respect, I really hope that you get to that. If you haven't experienced that yet, I really hope you do experience it very soon.
Sooner than later,
because if you don't experience it, then you're going to continue on in this TikTok life. And you're going to wake up and you're going to be 70, 80 years old. And you're going to have this microchip in your brain. And, the government is going to be controlling your every move. I mean, that's just...
depressed, like, what was this experience for? This whole life, what was it for? And that's, It's not about saying everybody's talking about those answers. It's about you waking the fuck up to actually take your time to choose to get away from, ask more questions, that's all. In general, just be like, hey, this doesn't make sense to me. And why am I feeling the way I'm feeling? Why the fuck am I feeling lost? Why the fuck am I feeling confused? And that's the start of your journey. Because if you don't start asking those questions, as Cory alluded to, it's going to hit you. It's inevitable. Do you want to have that quote-unquote midlife crisis of losing your mind? Or do you want to wake up, 70, 80 years old in a freaking nursing home and say, how the fuck did I get here? With dreams unaccomplished, with identities unidentified.
Well, and I guess that's the thing is, we all go through life and so many people have dreams and they blame it on the fear of why they don't achieve those dreams. But it's not the fucking fear. And that's the thing that you need to understand is it is all this conditioning that was deliberate, by the way, this deliberate conditioning by these few people at the top. When I'm saying few people at the top, 1% or whatever population that kind of control the rest of the world, that enforce all the rules, regulations, and everything else upon us. It's not the fear, and you can't look at fear as if it is something that is out of your control, because it is in your control, and your choice to either live in TikTok or live free is your choice. But what is happening right now is these people have an agenda. These elites have an agenda, and their agenda is to take that free will away from you, because they recognize that right now in the year 2021 that people more and more people are starting to wake up. They are starting to have spiritual awakenings. People are starting to question and doubt the governments and the authority figures and all the systems in place. They know that, so they have to put their agenda in basically fast forward. They have to roll out everything, which is the COVID, the lockdowns, the complete woke culture, introducing transgenders to our children and all of our school systems. The whole thing, they have to roll it out really fast, which is creating confusion. It's creating division, conflict, and it's creating a shit ton of fear. While they're rolling out their actual agenda, which is combining AI and to the human brain. And then as soon as that happens, you don't have that free will to think for yourself. So, within the next 5-10 years, if you don't wake the fuck up, you may as well consider yourself to be just another machine, another number.
It needs to be rebooted.
That, yeah, it's a really scary thing to think about. It's sad that there's that many evil people that have the money and the power to be able to put such systems in place to be able to have that much control. And by the way, just Mark Zuckerberg giving any schmuck out of college that much money and power is absolute insanity. And the people that allow that to happen need to be prosecuted to the 10th degree, because there is absolutely no way that Mark Zuckerberg or any of these other fucks that have this much power should have that much power or money.
If the leadership is not, I wanted to add influence, that was in my head, and influence. And if the leadership is not right and doing all that, it's really the people who should be smart enough to detect things that are not.
It always goes back to the very top. Yeah. So you got to look at who is actually running the world right now. It's clearly not our president of the United States. Okay, it's clearly not. So who is actually running the country? That's what you have to ask yourself, and the answer is pretty simple. It's all these companies that have too much bloody money, and
they need more coaching, but they probably haven't fucked.
Yeah, they
non-transactional.
Yeah, there's no question about it. Bill Gates. That motherfucker needs to get laid.
Big time, bro.
He got stuck in TikTok a long time ago, and he's been trapped there ever since. There's
Bill Gates, if you hear this, hire us. To change your life.
Yeah, because I've actually thought about this, because I was like, man, because I have a huge imagination, and I love to help.
Oh, you don't say.
I love to help people, and I love to take on new challenges. So it's like when I had a guy come to me in a wheelchair, and he said he wanted to go out and meet a bunch of girls, and he wanted to live that rock star lifestyle, and I was just like, man, at the time I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with this guy? Like, I don't even think I talked to a person in a wheelchair before that. And not because I judged them, or never came up in my life. Yeah. So, anyways, I was like, all right, well, if I can help this guy, I can help anybody. So I like to take on different challenges. So I thought the idea of Bill Gates has come up for me several times, and I said, well, do you think you could help Bill Gates? Somebody like Bill Gates?
Yeah.
And I was like, he is so far gone, trapped within the confines of his own ego. And I just figured the only way that I could help him is if he forcefully got removed of all of his money, power, and status.
Because you're dealing with him in his purest form. He's
got nothing, and from nothing,
You get everything.
You get everything.
Yeah.
And
that's the point.
so it's funny because here's somebody that one of the most powerful men in the world, to the point where he's influencing who's getting vaccines when he's not a medical doctor. He knows nothing about vaccines. He just is making money on it. But yet he's influencing the world, right? Medically, emotionally, physically, our well-beings, on how much money we are making, whether or not we're able to work. He's influencing that. The only way that he can be stopped, to where I could help him be reconnected with his true self, with truth, so he can start seeing clearly and stop sending chemicals up into our fucking atmosphere, and trying to blind out the damn sun. By the way, that was a really stupid idea, along with many others that you've said. But that's the thing. When you become trapped in your mind, you are incapable of seeing clearly in reality. And in reality,
you use the
in
wrong
front of you.
things to fill in specific voids and you fill it up with either wealth,
Pleasure,
extreme pleasure,
addiction,
transactional pleasure,
addictions,
anything you can
and
think of.
desire. The addiction to the learning.
Yes, the learning.
So many
constantly
people
learning,
they get on YouTube, and because of the internet, Google, they go in and they get trapped in this constant cycle where they're feeling like they have to always.
The next thing to learn. The next thing.
It's the next learning, and by learning more, they're gonna have more power, and they're gonna be more. You're gonna be more attractive, and you're gonna be stronger. You're gonna be smarter, but the mere desire to become smarter in the first place comes from a feeling of insignificance and feeling stupid.
I like that.
Straight. Hashtag truth.
Write that shit down, kids.
So if you're starting from a place of feeling insignificant and feeling stupid, and you're trying to cover it up by becoming smart and learning something new, then basically what's going to happen is you're not going to stop learning until you
feel you
accomplish what you set out to do, which is feeling that sense of worth, self-worth, feeling valuable, feeling comfortable with who you are, like fully loving and accepting who you are. But the funny thing is that one little feeling of insignificance sends you on this really wild egoic journey, because the ego is never fucking happy. You can buy it a car, you can get it laid, you can get it a hooker, you can get it a nice girlfriend, you can get it some kids, you can get it a wife, you can get it a good job, you can get it about $100 million, but it's always going to be a constant next thing.
Yeah. What about this?
That's what started like somebody like Bill Gates, right? I mean, well, he had a lot of influence from his family, because his family was pretty fucked up too.
Yeah, it's one thing to look at is anytime you try to fill up that void with other things, other vices, or whatever you have.
Other than accepting the fact that
you are who you are.
You did feel insignificant, and that's where it stems from, and then understanding the one and only truth that the only way that you can find and fulfill that insignificance and that feeling, that the feeling of emptiness, that void, is to discover
who you are.
But that is fully embracing and accepting yourself as you are, as a perfectly imperfect human being having a temporary life experience here on Earth. I actually said that wrong. It's spiritual being. An infinite spiritual being having a temporary human experience.
It's when you know things are so finite, is when you're not connected to something that has a longer or more eternal essence. Is that when you fill up that void and you do crazy stuff, whether you fuck transactionally or you do drugs or power, whatever it is, the very next day you feel that emptiness.
Yeah, you're feeling empty. And if it's not the next day, it's the next week. And
Or
then
the
you're on
next
to the
thing.
next thing. But and here's the beautiful thing about what the life that we live. We get to do all the same shit. We get to have money if we want money. We get to have girls if we want girls. We get to have like wild sex if we want wild sex. We get to do whatever the fuck we want. But we're not driven by our ego.
We're not driven
and
by
we're not driven by this thing that's telling us that we're not enough. We're doing it just to do it,
and that's
because
how I
we
was.
would like to experience it.
That's because I lived in that. What's the end result? What's the plan to get this end goal? Even starting out in my journey. But when you get to a point, it's like, no, that's not it. It's something more. And when you're in that state of that something more, and you're no longer driven by those, you don't have those motivations.
The worldly motivations.
Those worldly motivations. Yeah. Everything just starts being better. Everything is perfect. No, that's the wrong word. Not perfect, but...
Well, everything does become perfect. It almost seems like surreal. Like
too good to be true?
Yeah, almost like too good to be true. Like, almost like it's like... You have to pinch yourself, to make sure you're real.
I feel guilty sometimes. Like man, you told me, we talked about it before. Like feeling guilty, like damn, it shouldn't be this good. Shouldn't be this easy. This is bullshit. Like no, motherfucker. Like that's how life is supposed to be. Fucking abundance.
And fun, excitement, adventurous. I mean, if you're feeling like you're in a rut and you've kind of gotten sucked into that TikTok life, and the first thing to do is acknowledge it. Acknowledge the fact that you are one of the many, and forgive yourself. Like accept that it wasn't your fault, bro. It's not your fault why you have landed and ended up in this situation. It's not your parents' fault. It's not your
ex-girlfriend.
It's not your ex-girlfriend's fault.
Fuck that dude on the low.
It's not. It's not even your grandma's fault. It's not your teacher's fault. It's not the girl that you had a high school crush on. It's the fault, the core of why you are so conditioned and living in TikTok results back hundreds of years from very corrupt, greedy, pathetic, old men like Bill Gates that are just very unhappy and miserable, and they want to cast their shadow upon the world and other people, because misery loves company. They don't want you to be happy. They want you to be a slave to them. And somehow, some way, you are already, if you're living in that TikTok, and you are a slave to them. And the best way that you can get out of it is acknowledge it, forgive yourself for allowing these stupid fuckers to put you into this position in the first place. And then what you need to do is you need to go out and probably do a couple shots of Fireball and grow some balls and start pushing your comfort zone and doing some random ass shit to
get out of
to make and you have to be brave. You really have to be brave in this journey to break out. It's not easy. I'm not saying that it is. The life that we are talking of, the living in flow we're speaking of, it is easy. And it's very pleasant.
But it's kind of getting
but the journey,
highway of easy streets.
But the journey to getting to that level is not easy. I mean, you're going to have to go through a lot of hardships. It is that void that lies deep within billions of people.
And the feeling that void is the trap. Feeling it with the wrong way. By the way, cheers, my good man. Cheers
to the Fireball.
Fireball, motherfucker. Just a thought. When we say TikTok, think of not the app. Think of the clock. TikTok.
You're counting the clock. You're counting the hours.
Exactly.
In other words, your life is so fucking miserable that you're just counting the minutes
and
to the time you can
go
actually
to the
go
next
do
thing,
the next thing,
which is the next TikTok thing that you're doing, and everything is literally planned out. So the clock has no surprises. It just continues the same TikTok and all that.
It's completely predictable,
and you're always in a rush. Like What's that thing? The White Rabbit in Alice in Wonderland. In a rush, in a rush, in a rush.
Always in a rush to go nowhere.
Exactly.